Katie and welcome back to my booktube channel. For today's video, I will be doing a book review of Kingdom of the Cursed by Kerri Maniscalco, and this is the sequel to Kingdom of the Wicked, so if you haven't read Kingdom of the Wicked yet, please go do that before watching this video. There will be some spoilers for Kingdom of the Wicked because this is a sequel, but it will be spoiler-free for Kingdom of the Cursed. Hopefully that makes sense. But if you are interested, I do have a full review of Kingdom of the Wicked on my channel as well. I will link that for you guys. But if you have read Kingdom of the Wicked and you are curious about my thoughts, please continue watching. So I am not really going to give a summary of Kingdom of the Cursed because I went into it completely blind. So I didn't really know too much about it. Obviously, I knew how Kingdom of the Wicked ended, and I had a feeling that this book was going to take place in Hell, and that we were going to get to meet some of the other princes of Hell, and I was correct. I love that element, but other than that, I really did not know what we were going to find in Kingdom of the Cursed, and I feel like that was almost the best part of the reading experience. Also, before I get into my thoughts, I love the color of this book, and also I got a signed edition, which I'm super excited about because my Kingdom of the Wicked copy is not signed, so that was kind of like a must-have for me. I was so excited I got a signed copy, and also we have this gorgeous map, which I'm pretty sure is very similar to the map of Kingdom of the Wicked. I can't remember right now, but it really just reminds me of that. But here is the map. It's beautiful. It's in blue instead of purple because this is Kingdom of the Cursed. But it's really fun, and also I have little tabs that kind of went with the color of the cover because I wanted to mark anything important to the plot, but also any of my favorite lines or scenes that I wanted to go back to. So that's really what all of these tabs are. I don't really have a system. I just use the same color tab, and then I just flip through and find what I'm looking for. But I loved this book. Most of you probably already know this, but Kingdom of the Wicked was YA, but Kingdom of the Cursed is NA, and I loved the fact that this was new adult. There was so much smut in here, and it was so good. I feel like those scenes really carried the book for me. I usually like to look for some other plot to go along with it, and there was still plot, obviously, but I really loved the smut in here. It was so good. I feel like Kerri Maniscalco said this was her most, like, I don't know the right word, but the most relationship-driven, like, sexual tension book yet, and she was not wrong. This was so good. Also, this is a very character-driven, relationship-driven book, so if you're somebody who only really likes plot-driven books, this probably isn't for you. But if you're somebody like me who loves being just immersed in a romance and a character-driven story, then this is definitely for you. I'm going to be honest, most of these tabs I was talking about are definitely for the smut scenes. I had a great time. I honestly was probably blushing while I was reading them though, because I was not expecting that shift. It was such a big shift from the first book. The first book, there's definitely some tension between them, but in here, there's so much chemistry, and oh my gosh, I can't even begin to describe them. Those scenes alone are worth you guys picking up this book. It's so good, and I just love everything about Wrath and Amelia's relationship. I love that they're so passionate, whether they are like screaming at each other and arguing and there's pure anger, or there's like so much sexual tension and chemistry and it's super sensual. Like, there's just passion in every aspect of their relationship, and it is my favorite part to read. I'm jumping all over the place in this review, but like I mentioned earlier, the setting does take place in Hell, and it is the coolest setting I've read about in a while. It's so cool because, just like the map shows, there are 7 circles of Hell, and each one is ruled by one of the wicked princes of Hell, and it's really cool to explore the different elements. We get to explore a couple of the circles, not all of them, so maybe we'll get to see more in the next book, I'm not sure. But we get to explore some of them, and also we get to meet some more of the wicked princes, which is so fun because obviously they are all representing a different sin. So it's really fun to get to know these other princes and see how their sin kind of affects their personality and the way that they choose to rule their circle. And I just really loved getting to know those characters and exploring hell, and that was probably one of my favorite elements as well. Obviously, I have a lot of favorites. I feel like I keep saying all of these are my favorite elements, but I can't even describe this setting. Like, my words won't do it justice. The vibe of this setting was just so enthralling, and I just wanted to keep learning more. It just has such a dark and cold, brutal, but like still captivating vibe, and it's just so well done. Let's go back to the characters. I feel like there was a lot of character development in this book. I feel like we get to learn so much more about Wrath and Amelia, and I just really enjoyed that. I love getting to know these characters. They're some of my favorite characters I've ever read about, especially Wrath. He is definitely my #1 book boyfriend. He already was after Kingdom of the Wicked, but I fell in love with him so much more in this book. He just gets so much better. He's so badass, and he just like commands everybody's attention when he's in a room. And it's just, he's so powerful. Just his entire being, he's just so powerful. And it's so cool to see how people interact with him and react to him being in the same space as them. And there's just so much more I could say about him. But he is one of my favorite characters. Definitely my favorite book boyfriend. So if you guys love him as much as I do, please let me know in the comments. He's so fun to read about. I loved getting to know him. And Amelia also had a lot of depth to her in this book as well. She's still working through a lot, trying to figure things out, still trying to figure out what happened to her sister, and that's really all I can say about what she's going through in this book. But she also changes so much throughout this book, and I just loved every second of getting to know more and more about them. I felt so many emotions throughout this book. I feel like any emotion you can think of, I probably felt it at some point in this book. It just really plays with your emotions, and I feel like mostly my emotions were just a lot of anxiety and tension, just waiting for things to happen and trying to figure out the mystery that's in this book. But also there were a lot of times where I just had butterflies from all of the scenes between Wrath and Amelia. So there's definitely a good balance between like those negative emotions of just like waiting for things to happen, and also the positive ones when we're watching this romance unfold. I also really enjoyed the mystery element that I just mentioned. I feel like there's so much more mystery in this book than there was in the first one, and it was so fun because you're really trying to dig deep and figure out who did these things and figure out the same things Amelia is trying to figure out, and it was just really cool to do it right alongside her. And obviously this resulted in a bunch of plot twists, and there were a couple that I was able to predict, like 1 or 2, but even though I'd figured out what I thought the plot twist was, I still like was second guessing it along the way, so I wasn't 100% sure, and I loved that. I feel like that proves that it's great writing, and there was still so many plot twists I did not expect. So I definitely enjoyed the plot twist. Most of them were at the very end of the book, and I did feel like the ending was a little bit rushed, and maybe that's just because I personally was not ready for some of these plot twists. But I feel like it was a little bit rushed because you go through most of the book waiting for these things to be revealed, and then they're all just kind of thrown at you at once. So I didn't really enjoy that too much. I feel like it could have been a little bit more developed, but overall these plot twists were so good. Like I said, I recognize that this book is not perfect. I feel like there are things that could have been developed a little bit better, and you know, there's definitely probably some flaws in here, but I still love it all the same. I could not get enough of this world or these characters, so I still gave it 5 stars. I will definitely be rereading this. I need the 3rd book. The end of this book is a huge cliffhanger, like huge. There's a couple cliffhangers at the end, and I will not feel satisfied until I know what's going to happen. I feel so unsettled after that ending. I can't even form sentences right now. I'm like stumbling over my words. but I need the third book. I'm so sad that I read this so close to the publication date because it's at least another year before we get the last book in the series. I actually didn't even know how many books were going to be in the series until I looked it up yesterday. Apparently this is a trilogy. For some reason I thought we would have even more books, but the third book will be the last book. And so even though I really, really need to know what's going to happen, I also don't want that book to be out yet because I'm not ready to say goodbye to this world and to these characters. I'm not ready to say goodbye to Wrath and Amelia, so I just have to be happy with rereading Kingdom of the Cursed and Kingdom of the Wicked until that book comes out, because I really want to enjoy every second until the end is here. And I don't know, I just love the series so much and these characters so much. I feel like most of my book reviews are me fangirling over these characters and the different books I'm reading. So hopefully that's still enjoyable for you guys. But those are all of my thoughts on Kingdom of the Cursed by Carrie Maniscalco. Hopefully this review helped you figure out if you should read this book or not. I personally think you should. I loved this book. 5 out of 5 stars for sure. It was so good. And if you guys do end up reading this, please let me know in the comments or reach out on any of my other social media platforms that are linked below. I would love to talk to you guys. I always have so much fun talking to you guys about these different books, and let me know which of the sins, like which of the princes of hell you would want to meet and which sin you think is like the coolest in terms of the characters. I feel like that's so fun. Obviously, I'm kind of impartial to Wrath, but I also feel like Gluttony is a really cool one. You do get to see him in this book, and I thought that was a really interesting part of the story. So let me know who your favorite is or who you would like to see more of. I think that would be super fun. And if you enjoyed this video, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It would make my day. And if you do subscribe, please click the notification bell so you know when I upload next. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in my next video.